I'm curious to know with them and then with you as well, since you've probably only experienced like a packed club as a spectator and
Hmm.
not as a comic. Like I wonder
Yeah.
what that is gonna feel like for you. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be new for all of us again,
Definitely.
But
Definitely.
if you haven't experienced it already,
Hmm.
I wonder what that.
I'm looking forward to it,
Yeah.
honestly. It's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I think the biggest show I did was like 60 people around there. Um, so obviously nothing close because like a lot of the clubs you pack, like they pack them, it's like 100 to 120.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different ball game, I can
Yeah.
imagine. But
It's
yeah.
true. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is season 3 of Shooting the Breeze. And tonight, my guest is Joel Slavic. Joel is a comic out of Montreal. And, I'm excited to talk to him because, as you all know, I'm from Montreal too. So can't take the girl out of Montreal.
That's
anyway. You can't take the Montreal out of the girl. So welcome to the show, Joel.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for being here. So we were chatting about how we've been feeling lately. With
It's not good.
It's not good. Exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. It's not good.
Yeah.
And you use the term broken. That like we're all broken, and that is so accurate. Like I agree with you 100% on that.
It's definitely been something that's dragged on, like we were talking about earlier, like longer than anyone expected, and
Exactly.
everyone's getting to the point where it's like the show must go on, So
Yeah, because I remember like this time, like how Facebook has that feature of the memories, so it'll May 11th of 2020, and as long as you've been on Facebook.
yeah,
I've had a few because I've put up, like I was just trying to keep myself busy last year. And I remember like lamenting about, oh, this is week 8 and oh, I'm going crazy.
yeah.
Little did we know at that point that like a year later,
We had a long way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'd still be in the same boat. We were let out for a little bit and then locked up again. But I remember this time last year, it felt like, oh,
Yeah.
and that there was no talk of vaccines yet.
No. Yeah.
And we all thought, oh, maybe by fall it'll blow over, it'll be done, and we'll be
Even
fine.
like the reopen and the reclose was tough on everyone too, because it kind of gave us all a taste, and we were like so thankful. And then obviously we are where we're at now. But I'm optimistic for June.
I hope so. I hope so. I don't know. I don't even want to speculate anymore because I don't want my heart broken again.
Yeah, again for like the 14th time.
Exactly. Because now, like, I'm thinking back and I'm like, did it do us any good? Or did it do us more harm to be like let out for a little bit?
Yeah.
To be shut down again. Like, was that good for us?
I mean, I feel like I would be less mentally stable if it didn't happen. So it's like there's that, but at the same time, it's tough when like the government regulations are indecisive and it's just like flip flop.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I can't be too harsh with them because they don't know what the hell's going on either. You know what I mean? And so it's a tough decision. I'm glad I'm not in a leadership position where I have to like direct a country or a province or a city on like what to do or what not to do and stuff. But
tough time to be in politics right now.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. But one thing I find, I don't know if it's the same if this is happening in Montreal, but what's happening here is I'm of the mind, like, if your store is open, that you should be able to buy whatever's in that store. If your store is not closed and you can physically go in the store, whatever that store sells, you should be able to buy. And then like other stores that you can't, that are physically closed, are still doing, you can order online and do curbside pickup. But there are stores that are open that you could go in, but you can only buy essential items. So there are like aisles of stuff that are just like there's like police tape across saying this isn't essential, you can't
Really?
buy this. And I think that's the dumbest fucking shit.
Is that in Ontario?
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
happening here. Yeah. So like
That's crazy.
if you go into Walmart, for example, there's only like certain sections. You can only be in like the grocery section of Walmart.
That's insane.
Yeah. But if you need like
Like-
a garbage can, you can't buy a garbage can because that's not deemed essential.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think the worst we got here is the curfew. That's been really tough. Especially like seeing the rest of Canada, you know, like it's literally just Montreal. So that's been difficult. But like I can't even, like, the fact that we're even having this conversation right now where it's like stores are restricting what you can and can't buy.
Yeah.
If you like asked us a year ago about this, we'd be like, oh my God, like,
yeah, it'd be like, never, that would never happen. Like,
no. Not in Canada.
This isn't Handmaid's Tale. Like,
yeah. It's straight out of like a science fiction novel,
yeah.
I swear.
Oh, for sure. It's crazy. It's crazy. Did you get to perform any of the times that things were open?
Yeah. I was able to get a couple shows in it was about 2-3 months. So yeah, I was able to get a few in, and then once everything shut down, I was doing a lot of Zoom stuff. So I was still like trying to write and just keep that muscle moving, and but it's definitely been there's nothing that really compares to like in person and feeling the energy and all that. But
exactly,
yeah,
it's better than nothing, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm a fan of the Zoom shows. I've done a ton. I host one, but yeah, it doesn't compare to performing live, to being in front of a crowd and all of that. But that's all we have right now, so I will take it. you know.
Hello, can you hear me?
I think we froze for a second.
Oh, okay. We're all good. We're back.
Yeah, I think we're back. Yeah, I was just saying that Zoom is not ideal. Like I like the Zoom shows. Like I have a lot of fun on them, but it's like apples and oranges. Like you can't compare it to performing live.
I think the biggest thing is you get feedback on like stuff that you hadn't really tested out.
Yes.
So that's obviously a huge plus, but yeah, I mean, you can't, just because there's so much more that goes into it when it's in person. Like just staring at a screen.
You feed off the energy in the room and the people and all of that. Where you're just staring at a screen sort of thing, you know.
That's different.
Yeah, because I know like the very first online show I did was over Facebook Live, and that's just one direction, like no feedback. Maybe an emoji or a comment comes up like 15 seconds after you've made it. But so that was
the delay.
The delay exactly.
is brutal.
Yeah, the delay is brutal. So yeah, so I'm glad. Like I was glad when things moved to a more like interactive platform like Zoom and things like that, where at least you can hear. You know, if people keep their cameras on, you can see them. You know, and there's some kind of you can hear the reaction. You know, and I think it's good practice. It's good training, and
definitely.
You know,
and it gives you. I feel like it gives you more. You know, because I was doing like Zoom shows that were based in the States, and it gives you like a little bit more confidence in your material when you hear people enjoy it, you know, like because like if it's just you who's written it and recited it, you don't really know, right?
Exactly. And if you're performing it for the same people, you know, just local things, and it's like they know your material, they'll laugh at the material, but it's a feeling of satisfaction and like validation when you try it in a completely different market where they don't know you, they don't know what you're about, and you say you do your material and they laugh. Like it's like, oh, okay. You're
like, I'm not crazy. This is actually funny. You're like, thank God.
This is funny.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Like that's so fun. So I joined like a ton of Facebook groups like outside of Ottawa, like last summer, like say this time last year, and was just like scoping the groups for shows. And I did quite a few. I don't do as many as I did last year this time, like outside of like outside of Canada or in the States, because I've found like more, not well local, but I've found other ones, and I know because some of the markets in the States have reopened.
They're back.
They're back, and they've like they don't do the shows anymore, because I think about three groups that I was in, they don't do the shows anymore because they're back.
Mm-hmm.
They're back in person, where it's like lucky.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's definitely a lot of benefit to it, but I'm not gonna miss the Zoom laughs. So
yeah, exactly. A laugh is a laugh.
Yeah.
Reaction. And because I don't think, I think when things open up again, I don't think the Zoom shows will go away. I don't think they should go away either.
No, I think it's a great outlet. And maybe, there's people who could be, really good joke writers, but too scared to go up. And that would be like a way for them to kind of get their material out there. So I think it's definitely a good avenue for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then say communities that, comedy shows don't go there because they're too remote or they're too far out. You can totally set up a Zoom show.
Yeah.
And I do think that at least for the next little while, that there are going to be people who are still too nervous to go into like a club or a restaurant or like a venue, whether it's an open mic venue or a club or for an actual show. And but they still want to enjoy stand up. So that's an option as well.
No, definitely. I feel like it's a, glass half full kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not ideal, but there's definitely some upside.
Right. Because I know just the action of performing on Zoom, like that kept that gave me like the performance fix. Like that stand-up fix. Like I love to do it. At least I get to perform. And I don't know, I was talking with someone last week and we were saying that if you can break through to someone on Zoom and get them laughing on Zoom, you can kill them in person.
Yeah.
Because
definitely. Because
it's easier to get a reaction in person when you're standing right in front of the person, right in front of the live audience versus, it's a two-dimensional thing. We've got this barrier, but if you can like somehow get through that barrier and make them laugh.
Exactly. And I think like stage presence and like confidence is such a big role in delivery and everything. So, no, it's definitely a good it's like a fraction of the actual art, but it's definitely still there.
Exactly. And like, that's the thing. Like, I think I felt like it kept me sharp. So that like when we did open up in July, I felt like I hit the ground running because I had been performing all along. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so rusty, I haven't performed in 5 months. It was like, I performed yesterday. Just not in front of people. And
you're used to like reciting and the cadence and no, you're more comfortable with the material.
Exactly.
No, it makes sense.
Exactly. Like in Montreal, did you guys perform behind any sort of barrier? Did you have any barriers like on stage and stuff like that?
No, not when it was open for those couple months, but I have been seeing in like New York City, like at the Comedy Cellar, they have like a big plastic sheet, and like I feel like that would really restrict the comedian's ability to like connect with the audience. Like it's performing in front of a sheet of plexiglass.
Because the two clubs that I've performed at, like Yuck Yucks and Absolute Comedy. I haven't performed at the Absolute Comedy in Ottawa, but I have at the one in Kingston and Yuck Yucks here. They had the plexiglass, and that was an experience. Like the first time you're behind there, you feel like you're in a penalty box, like you're walked in, and it's because it cuts your hearing. Because I remember the very first time I was like, oh, I'm bombing because they're not laughing, but it really cuts your hearing. Like you can't really hear. Forget about seeing. You just see your reflection, like between, like with the lights and everything, you just see your reflection. yeah, you might be able to see the first row of tables.
Wow.
Because tables aren't right up at the stage anymore. They're like at least
Spread out,
6 to 10 feet away. So you might be able to see the first few tables, but beyond that, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
So you like, I would study the crowd before I got up just to know where people were sitting, so that when I'm not just talking straight ahead or talking that way. But
sounds like it's impossible to do crowd work, really, if it's like you can't see or hear.
Some people can. Yeah, some people will still manage to do it, and which is pretty impressive.
Adversity. Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly, which is pretty impressive. I'm not a crowd work person, so
yeah,
that was fine with me. I didn't have to do it, but yeah, it was a bit of a challenge. Like at first, it could throw you off completely.
No, definitely. In a phone booth, basically.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And so everyone would get up there and they'd have some take on it, that they feel like they're in a penalty box or they're being shipped somewhere.
They were riffing on it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, in a shipping container or so, And and the thing is, like, we didn't realize like how much, when you talk, how much you spit until you see it on the plexiglass,
Like, damn, is it really that bad? Like,
exactly. It's like, say it, don't spray it. And you're like, I can't help it.
I didn't even know I was spraying it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Feel bad for the front row.
The front row, exactly. Because the days where the tables are right up to the stage, and it's like if you trip, you're taking out like 3 tables.
Yeah.
Thing. You kick
close
someone
quarters
in the head by accident.
Yeah.
Because they're so close. Yeah.
You see like some old footage of clubs, and it's like they're packed in there.
It looks
like
weird, eh?
Yeah. I hope it gets back to that, but it's definitely going to take some time.
Yeah, it'll take time. Time. Because I know a few weeks ago I was watching a Just for Laughs special that was filmed. I think it was 2019, and I can't remember like what theater it was filmed at, but it was like a smallish venue. It wasn't like where they usually have the galas. Like, it wasn't that big. What's the name of it? Peltier, or
I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
I know
offhand
they do like some, like Theater St. Catherine is like one of the smaller ones they do that they really pack. Yeah.
But this one was a smaller one, and I was watching it and I was like, oh, look at them all close together like this. And then when the host would introduce the comment, oh, they're shaking hands. Wow.
No mask in sight.
No mask, exactly. No hand sanitizer or mask, and no barrier, and people are sitting close together. Oh my God.
Simpler times.
Oh,
Simpler times.
Oh yeah. Like, I do hope that some things that we've been doing like throughout quarantine and pandemic will stay, like the spacing. Like, I hope that sort of stays.
Yeah.
Where people aren't, you're waiting in line for the bank machine and there's somebody right behind you. Because those people, like, you move and then they move too because they're standing too close. Like, I hope those things sort of stay.
Yeah. I hope everyone's more conscious about washing their hands now too.
Yes.
Which is like, if you weren't before, like,
yeah, and if you still
you gotta be now. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no excuse now.
There's none. Because I remember like last year at the beginning of it, where it was like, oh, wash your hands. And I remember thinking, like, who's not washing their hands? Like,
who is this an inconvenience for? Like,
exactly.
Come on.
And even before masks, I remember like in the first weeks or so, if like going to, like, I went to Costco to like stock up sort of thing. And it was before we were given the like the ordinance to wear masks and everything. I was wearing gloves. That was my thing, is like, oh, gloves, because I'll be touching the touching things. Yeah. So I was wearing gloves, and like now I don't even wear gloves. I just wear the mask. And remember the days where people like, wipe down your groceries, anything you bring in the house, wipe it down. No one's doing that anymore.
No. I feel like there was a stage of paranoia where people were just like,
far.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those first those first like 2-3 weeks, it was just like it felt like the world was ending, and there was so many unanswered questions. Like it was kind of a scary time, but like
it was.
yeah, I feel like we have a better understanding now, which helps.
Exactly. Yeah, we have a better understanding, yet we still don't know everything. And I often think of because there was also a lot of talk about like the last major pandemic was the Spanish flu in 1918, and I was like, okay, we got through that. Humanity survived and got through that.
Yeah.
But it was like we have so much the technology that we have today. Like how I don't know if I would have been able to, like I live alone. I just have cats with me. Like what would I have done in 1918?
Back then, quarantining?
In quarantine, like
that's the
just
thing.
Like tend to the fields or what? I don't know. Like
I was talking to some people about that the other day. Like we're like bitching and complaining about being quarantined with Wi-Fi and AC and running water.
Heat. Yeah. It's true.
It makes you think. It really makes you think. Like we don't have it as bad as we think.
Like, yeah, no, it's true. Because just imagine, not even a year, not even 14 months. Imagine a day where with no Wi-Fi, no running water, no heat, no electricity. When the sun goes down, that's it.
Yeah. You just go to sleep. You have no other option.
Yeah, you're just like, I guess I'll sleep.
Well, I can't see anything, so I'll close my eyes.
I don't know where the candles are. I know. It's just like, yeah, I'm glad, if I had to choose 1918 pandemic, 2020 pandemic, I'll go with the 2020 pandemic.
I think we're doing okay.
I think we're doing okay.
That's a good way to look at it.
I think we're fine. Oh my goodness. Like, have you found, like, did your material change, like in those, when you came out of, like when we came out of like the first lockdown and things were opening, and like, did you write a lot of like different or quarantine material, or did it stay pretty much the same?
I found, and I remember hearing this on a podcast, I find like I've kind of been careful about COVID and like pandemic material, because I heard someone say, in like 2 years, you're not gonna be able to use that, like it's obviously like when stuff reopened and it was what everyone was talking about. I've heard like there's some great COVID material out there, but it's like you don't want to spend too much time on it, because that's not something that you're going to be able to translate to your voice for the rest of your career,
Exactly.
But I found most of my material was pretty consistent. I obviously had a little bit of COVID stuff, but I try to shy away from that as much as I can.
Yeah. Because like what you said, it's there's like what's the word? There's like a time frame on that.
Expiry date on it.
An expiry date, exactly.
Yeah.
That it's like, you can, like when things opened up, you could talk about like, oh yeah, I went crazy and I baked bread and I did all of this stuff. And then that's it. You just you bring in your old stuff, or you continue in your own style. Yeah. And with each subsequent like closing and reopening, you might mention it again, but you're not really talking about COVID itself. You're talking more about, the crippling depression that comes with like being locked down and coming back up.
Like how it affected you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like how it affected you, or like now talking about vaccines, like if you got vaccinated and, things like that. So yeah, I think it's becoming more topical.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like a year from now or 2 years from now,
crowds aren't gonna
can't use
they're gonna be like, oh, I remember that, like why are you still talking about it?
That was so 2021, like why are you still talking about it? Unless we're still in it, God forbid.
Oh no, knock on wood. That's the thing. I hope the expiry date is sooner rather than later on those. But
I hope so. So I really hope so. Yeah, because that stuff has just like say like Trump jokes expiry dates.
Exactly.
Those are expired, unless he does something crazy now. Like
unless he's in the news or anything like that.
Right. Unless he unless he's doing something like in the moment, at the moment, then like Trump jokes aren't going to fly anymore either. And it's the same with
political jokes are like that for sure. Like it's all about who's relevant. And I mean, I felt like Trump jokes were just done to death just because you could just say what he like says actually in press conferences, and it would
you don't have to add anything to
it. That's the thing.
He just repeat what he says.
It was like too easy for too long, and I don't know.
I didn't do any political. I don't usually do political stuff, but like same. For people who do, it was like they had so much material because he did something like ridiculous or said something stupid like every day.
I had to stop checking the news because I was like, "There's no way this guy is serious." What is he saying? Drink bleach? What?
Yeah. I was gonna say that, and then his advisors were all like, "Oh, he was joking," and I remember thinking, "This is not the time to be joking or to be tongue in cheek. No. Like this is serious."
Yeah,
it's like, "Oh, you guys
you're in charge."
Yeah, exactly. You're in charge, and people are looking to you for guidance, and you're making these flippant remarks about the sun and drinking bleach and stuff, and it's like, you idiots.
Yeah, no, that's. It's a very like surreal chapter in history that this guy was in charge of the United States for as long as he was.
I know,
but
and that there's
thank God we live in Canada.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And there's still people who think like he was robbed, like the election was stolen. It's like people.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Interesting year for everyone.
For sure. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But so how long have you been doing comedy?
I started in July of last year.
July of 20?
July of 2020, yeah.
Oh wow.
No, it was pretty recent. It's something I've always kind of wanted to try, something I've always kind of been drawn towards. And when I graduated from university, I had no pastimes or hobbies or anything. And I had a friend who was in the Montreal scene who was doing stand-up. So I sent him a message and kind of inquired on how to get into it and how to write jokes. And ever since then, I've just been I've really taken a liking to it. So it's been really enjoyable.
Oh wow! I find it interesting that you started during the pandemic. Like, was that like a conscious decision? Were you like, now seems like a good time?
Definitely not. Definitely not. It was, I don't know. That's just kind of how everything fell into place. It was something I've kind of always wanted to try, but I never thought I would actually, get it. It's like wanting to do it and actually doing it are just two different things, right?
Exactly.
The opportunity presented itself. I knew people who were already stand-ups, and it just kind of gave me the confidence to do it. And I wasn't really thinking about it being a bad time to start, just because I didn't know at the time we were going to be locked down for a year. Yeah. But that's just kind of how life played out for me. But
it's true. Because if like anything else, if like you wait for the perfect time will never come.
That doesn't, you gotta take initiative. So
exactly. Because I've spoken to I think 2 other comics, and they're located in Ottawa, and they started during the pandemic as well. And I'm curious to know with them, and then with you as well, since you've probably only experienced like a packed club as a spectator and not as a comic. Like, I wonder what that is gonna feel like for you.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be new for all of us again,
Definitely.
But
definitely.
if you haven't experienced it already, I wonder what that.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Honestly, it's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I think the biggest show I did was like 60 people around there. So obviously nothing close, because like a lot of the clubs you pack, like they pack them, it's like 100 to 120.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different ball game, I can imagine. But
it's true. because I know like the first show I did that was like in a limited capacity, it was like it felt so weird. It felt empty, you know, because they're like, I think that particular weekend there were maybe 20 people in the audience, and it you know, in a place that usually fits like 100, 150. But then very quickly, like we adjusted to that, so it's like we're sold out at 50, and it's like, woo, 50, it's sold out, yeah.
You know? And like the laughs carry too, like if everyone's laughing, like it feels like a full room, you know. It doesn't it's not as disconnected as you think. But
exactly, because like if you're funny and you make the audience laugh, they will laugh, and you will feel it and you will hear it, you know. But there's like I remember the very first time that I performed, and the first laugh I got, like I actually felt it. Like I felt the force. all the COVID. You feel you just felt it, you know, and it was like, oh, it was
it's hard to explain.
Feeling. Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, but it's a cool feeling. So I hope you feel that one day.
Yeah. I really feel like I'm like super nervous until I hear that first laugh. Then it's like, okay, like I know what
totally
to do.
Normal. That's totally normal. Cause like I was super nervous. Like the very first time, like I was nervous like a week before. I was like, oh God, I don't know if I can do
like
this.
Dreading it kind of thing.
Almost dreading it. Like, oh, what if, you know, thinking of all these disastrous scenarios.
Yeah.
And then when I got up there, it just fell away. You know, I was probably, I sounded a little shaky on like my first joke, but then once that first laugh, and I was like, oh, and then
like I've done this. Yeah,
exactly. You're off to the races. And I know my first time when I finished, I was all like, like I'm full of adrenaline. Like,
it's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling. But no, I just love the energy, you know, and
definitely.
And like you can feel you get the vibe of the crowd. Like, you know, you can tell it's like, okay, they're a tough crowd for whatever reason. You're gonna have to really win them over. Like, you're gonna have to work for it. And then there are other crowds that no matter what you do, they're gonna laugh.
They're having a good time.
They're out to have a good time. Like, no matter what you do, they're gonna laugh. And then there are others, like, no matter what you do, they do not want to laugh.
You feel like you're interrupting their dinner.
Exactly.
And it's just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I work hard on these jokes, but I'm sorry.
I have the microphone. But
those are tough.
I'd say it's exciting. I can't even describe or begin to describe like how much I love it and how much I love doing it. It's it's one of those things, like once you're bitten, like you're done for. No, it's like I can kind of relate to that too. Like from like the first time I really felt it, it's like you kind of get hooked on that. It's a high, if anything. And you're kind of always chasing that high. Yeah, chasing that high. What is it? Chasing the dragon or something?
Chasing
Because
definitely a healthier dragon.
A healthier dragon. Exactly, a much healthier dragon. For sure. Because like I had taken a course because I'd always wanted to do stand up. I was always a fan of it. I always went to Just for Laughs and shows and stuff like that. And I knew that there was like I wanted to learn like the architecture of a joke, like how to write a proper joke and everything. So I did that. And I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? You
went to like a workshop to learn how to write?
I went to a workshop to learn how to craft a joke, because I didn't, I knew it was more than just being funny. Like there's a way of putting like your stories together or whatever to make it funny. And I would say that the jokes that I wrote in that class are like some of
the early days.
They're not the best jokes, but they're like my most, how can I put it? They're my most structurally ideal,
like sound.
Crafted. Like they're the best crafted jokes that I have, because they follow like all the rules sort of thing. But they're not the best jokes. Like they were fine, they worked.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, and you'll find that as you like the more experience that you get, that you'll go back to like older jokes, and you can revamp them because you have more experience, you have more skill, that you can do more with it. Because I'm still fairly new myself. I've only been at it a year and a half, but I've like gone like head first into it. That like as I get stronger and as I get better, that like say stuff that happened to me last year, like say there was something I want to write about last year, I didn't have the skill or the experience to do it,
to figure out how to translate it.
Exactly, how to translate this experience into a joke, where I have I have that experience now, sort of thing. And I'm sure like next year, something that I couldn't quite craft this year, I'll be able to do next year, and so on.
And I think it's so important to be patient with yourself too. Like whatever is on your mind, just write it down and come back to it. You know, like you can let something sit for like a week and come back to it and be like, oh, that's, you know, like I knew it was funny, but I didn't know how to bring it to life.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I have a joke that I've just started performing, and I sat on that for, honestly, I sat on it for like 10 years. It was something that was just like swishing around in my head. But from the time I started comedy, I was like, I need to put this in a bit somehow, but I just didn't know how. But like I just wrote it down, just like you said, just put all your ideas down. Like don't even think about making it funny yet. Just get it out there so that when you come back, you have something to work with. Because I've lost bits too, where it's like, oh yeah, by the time I get to work, I'll write it down, and it's gone. Lost it forever.
Yeah. No, so that's definitely it's definitely a dangerous game, because I've like tried to be more disciplined with myself. Like as soon as you think of it, don't think that you're going to remember it later, because you won't. Like write it, take out your phone, write it down.
Exactly.
Like I'll be like walking on the sidewalk and like stop and just like pull out my phone. Like I'm an inconvenience to the people behind me, but like, you know.
I've pulled over, like I've pulled into like a parking lot and stuff, and just like written it into the phone, you know. I spoke, like dictated into like voice notes or something. But the same thing. Like I have a program that Evernote, that I keep all my jokes in, and when I have the time, it's like, oh yes, this thing, I'll pull out my phone, or if I'm on the laptop and type it in there. But if I'm out, somewhere else, it's just, it's either voice notes or something, or you scribble it down somewhere just so that you don't lose it.
Yeah. And it's like important to not put pressure on yourself too. Like just let it come naturally. And if it's not working, and if you're trying to crack it, it's not working, like it's better to just come back to it. Like it's not.
Yeah, just leave it alone and then come back. Because
you're not writing a paper.
Right. And the thing is, like I don't throw anything away. I don't throw any bits or premises or anything away, because it might not work right now, but who knows, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, you could be like, I got it. Or if this is something I've started doing recently, is like doing like workshops with other comics, where we help each other and stuff. And I find that can get the creative juices too, or say, I've got this premise, I don't know what, I've got this far, I don't know what to do with it. And then like feedback from others.
Yeah, definitely.
That helps a lot.
You guys do those on Zoom?
Yeah, we've been doing those on Zoom. Yeah.
I would definitely be interested just to work out new material and get tags, and because I could take one sentence or one word and that's it. You have a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've been doing a few different ones, but there's another one that I want to get started up, so I can invite you if you'd.
Absolutely
interested.
Definitely interested.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that one up off the ground yet, but I think it's good to. It's a good thing. Like even if you don't have anything that you're working on, like you could help others, and then that could stimulate like your creative process and stuff like that, and Yeah, because I'd never done that before. I would just like test it out on myself, sort of thing, and be like,
Yeah.
okay, I think it's okay, and then take it to the stage, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
That's risky. That's
Yeah, I
risky.
know. You know, that's how
Especially because
good.
you're like, you guys don't get it. It's funny, and it's
Yeah,
like you can't,
I think it's
if they
funny.
don't follow you, yeah, exactly, yeah. If they don't
Exactly.
follow you, then it's usually not going to go well.
All
So
right, right. And I know like my biggest in terms of like joke writing is I have too many details. I have
hmm
to like I have to keep stripping it
yeah,
down to get it
cut the
just
fat kind of.
cut the fat
Yeah,
exactly. You know, because it's like on one hand I'm like, well, they need all this background, and it's like, no, they don't. You
yeah,
know? If you've got an hour, then yeah, you can go into detail and stuff like that. But if you've only got like
yeah,
6 minutes or 5 minutes or a few minutes,
yeah,
you don't have the time to like picture it. Da, 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 da.
yeah. And that's, I feel like that comes with time. Like you really develop that skill to like see a joke and be like, okay, well, I can get rid of this,
Yes,
and it's gonna help it. It's not gonna hurt it.
exactly,
So
exactly. Yeah, with experience, that comes with experience. Because like
definitely,
my first step is like if I have an idea, is just write it down, like just write it all out, and
yeah.
then go over it and be like, okay, they don't need to. Don't we can take this out, take this out, take this out.
hmm
Now what's it like? Okay, and then you could keep,
Yeah.
you can keep cutting it down.
And you can build a cadence. You can be like, oh, I'm gonna pause here. I
Yeah.
might, like it's all. It takes a lot of time. It's
Hmm. Yeah.
not just writing it down.
Yeah. And like I find it amazing how people still think that, we just get up there and just talk off the top of our heads,
hmm
sort of
Yeah.
thing. And it's like, no, you have no idea like the amount of work and time
Yeah.
that goes into that 5 or 6 minute set
Yeah.
that you've just heard. You
Like this
know?
minute joke took months
Yeah,
to like get
exactly.
just right. It makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the thing I knew, like I always knew it wasn't easy, and that like the people who were doing it, who made it look easy, were like brilliant at it, were really
hmm
good. Um, and I know stand up has an air of, just very easygoing and very like loosey goosey sort of thing, but in reality, it's very precise.
hmm
It's very,
Yeah.
very precise because you have, let's say, 6 minutes to do your thing. And within those 6 minutes, you're, different timing, pauses, cadence, tempo, all these things.
Yeah.
And then like just within the environment of the show, X number of people with X number of time, and within each time frame, you could all have 6 minutes, but that 6 minutes is going to look different for everybody.
Definitely.
And I
Definitely.
think that's so
No. No 6 minutes is alike, and it's like
exactly,
it's all
exactly,
it lets people be creative, and it lets people show themselves in a way that they wouldn't be able to otherwise. So
exactly. How
yeah.
would you describe your style? Like, what is your style of
Uh,
comedy?
like you were saying earlier, that you're not a big crowd work performer. I definitely say I'm the same. More of a, yeah, I don't know. I feel like my strength is more my writing, so I try to play to that.
Okay.
Um, as far as my style goes, I grew up, I really like deadpan kind of humor. Um, so I feel like I try to incorporate some of that, and yeah, I mean, I feel like I just kind of try to sound like me as much as I can. That can be difficult when you're writing and crafting bits like
Mm-hmm.
verbatim, but yeah, no, I feel like ranting is kind of where the funny comes from, so I try to incorporate a bit of that too.
Yeah, rant. Like I can't do rants, but
Yeah.
I like rant humor. I just think
hmm
it's so funny. I think it's so funny,
Yeah.
and it's so
It's like a
smart
roller
too.
coaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so smart. I love it. I love it. Like, who are your influences? Like, what kind of like who are your favorite comics, or what kind of comedy do you follow?
I really like Mark Norman,
Yes, I love him too.
Sam Morril,
Yeah,
those two guys.
they're
Um,
so funny. They're so funny.
yeah,
They're
they're
so
two of
good.
they're two of the best joke writers, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. Trying to think. I do like well, Dave Chappelle, obviously he's the greatest.
Yes.
Andrew Schulz too.
Yes, he's good.
He's really been taking. He's like he can do pure crowd work and take over a venue. So it's pretty. That's pretty.
That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, that's something that you definitely want to incorporate a little bit of it. But I'm trying to think of who else. There's a lot. There's a big list. But what about yourself?
Yeah, I like Mark Norman, Sam Morril, Dave Chappelle. I like Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh yeah, the Italian guy.
I just like his how he's like irritated and angry. I love that.
Every single one.
Yeah, I like Eliza Schlesinger. I like her. What's her name? I forwarded Lorena. I can't think of her name right now. There's a comic she's based in New York City named Liz Mealy.
Okay.
She's pretty funny. Yeah, I like old school, like Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy,
the classics,
things like that. The classics, Richard Pryor is like the blueprint of practically every comedian.
Yeah, you know? He's a legend.
Like Chris Rock, I love Chris Rock.
Yeah,
you know, I watch a lot of, I watch like my favorites, but I also watch say styles that I don't usually follow, just to see how they do it. You know.
No, definitely.
I do like Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah,
I love his delivery, and he's dark, so dark,
very dark, very dark.
But he does it so well, like he does it so brilliantly.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like if you're going to be that dark, like your jokes have to kill.
You have to buy in.
Yeah,
you have to go all the way in.
Yeah,
like you can't.
Yeah, you can't be like hesitant or anything. And so he's really good. Like I like his style.
Yeah, no, he's really good with like the misdirects too, and like use of his language, and he's a pro.
You think you know where he's going, but
no. Yeah, no, I think like what you're saying, like I feel like naturally you're drawn towards people who like kind of share your voice or your style, but it can only benefit you to learn someone else's style or what makes someone else funny, you know?
Yeah. For sure. It's like I find that's part of the whole learning experience, and that's whether you're a new comic or an experienced comic or a professional comic, just to see how other people do it, and you can learn stuff. Because I don't know if this is happening with you. I find I'm watching it more for technique,
educational purposes.
Yeah. It's like I'm watching it like it's like an educational video instead of like a comedy video, because I'm watching how they move on the stage, like their tempo, like it's the structure of a joke. Yeah,
you hear the joke and instead of laughing, you're like, oh damn, that's funny.
Yeah,
but and you try to figure out why. Yeah, exactly.
How did they even come up with that?
Yeah.
It's true. So I find myself watching it. Like I have to make a conscious decision and try and turn off the comic and just be like, just watch it and just enjoy it. Just watch it and laugh and stuff. But I find it's hard, because I'm doing a bit of both.
Yeah.
Because I like to.
There's two sides to it.
Exactly. Because I watch all of it, like how how they control their voices. Are they like screaming, or are they talking just very calmly? Is there a lot of variation in their voices? How do they move around the stage?
Yeah.
Because if you're on a little stage versus a Place des Arts or something, it's different. Your movements are going to be a little different.
Definitely. I find with me too, like watching stand up and like hearing different rhythms and cadences, it kind of helps you with your own writing, because you're like, oh, this bit would be funny if I did it kind of like him, like obviously not stealing jokes, but like their cadences and like how they start a joke or that kind of thing. Like you pick up little subtleties.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, you can, because it's happened with me like a handful of times where it's like I have a joke and I know it should work, but it's not working and I can't figure it out. But then you watch somebody's special and the way they set a joke, you're like, that's it. You know, I need to pause or I need to speed it up or I've got to, you know, throw off the rhythm or something to get it to work. And
definitely.
Yeah. So it's like it's so exciting. I love it. I love it. I find it's fascinating. Hello.
Sorry, I froze for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I find it like so fascinating, and the fact that like I don't ever think that like the stand-up comedy scene can be like oversaturated. I don't think that that's possible, just because everyone has their own voice, their own unique style, and you know, yes, so you know, somebody, you know, I might remind someone of this comic, or you might remind somebody of that comic, or your style is similar to so and so, but it's still different.
Definitely.
It's still different.
I don't like hearing people like being discouraged, feeling like, oh, it's too oversaturated, because it's like that's like there's no one person is exactly alike, you know. It's,
exactly.
As long as you stay true to what, you know, makes you funny or what your voice is.
Exactly. Exactly. The only like saturation I can think of is just, you know, depending on where you live, there may be fewer places to do comedy and fewer spots to do comedy than there are comics, but it doesn't mean, you know, you can create your own thing. You can create something else, you know, make another space for comics. But
I mean,
to say,
if
oh,
you're
there are
able
enough
to,
comics now.
yeah,
we've hit our limit. We're good.
It's like if you're able to get laughs, like people are gonna notice, you know. So
sure.
I don't think you should be discouraged just because you think there's too many, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, because you know, as a fan of comedy, say like even before, like way before I started doing it, going to a show and watching, like that was the exciting part, because I knew I wasn't going to see 6 people doing exactly the same thing, saying exactly, you know what I mean? Even though, you know, 6 people could get up there and talk about dating, for example. It's 6 different points of view, and like some crazy, some like standard, some like whew, like way off, but
everyone has different experiences too.
Exactly.
Like there's, it's not like you're going to hear the exact same story twice. Like there's no, you know?
Yeah.
So
and I think
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, that you can have a room full of comics and say, okay, we're going to reconvene here in a week, and I want you all to write 5 minutes about X subject.
Yeah.
And you come back and you're going to have all these different, it's all the same subject, but all these different perspectives and experiences and viewpoints. And, you know, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's amazing.
That's the art.
That's the art.
That's what
exactly.
Makes it,
That's the art. That's the art. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. You know, do you have any like short-term, long-term goals for yourself in terms of comedy?
Oh man. I mean, short term, I just kind of want to get up as much as possible and, you know, just get more and more comfortable and try to keep evolving my, my joke writing and just everything. Long term, I would, you know, I would love to put together an album eventually. It's a long way. It takes years. It's a long way in the future, but I think that would be something. And I really like how it's more normal now for comics to shoot and produce their own specials. I think that opens the door for so much more. So
that's a game changer. Yeah, you don't have to wait for someone to pluck you out of obscurity. Like you could do it yourself. Yeah,
just get it out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as of right now, just stay consistent and try to get better every day.
No, that's good. That's a good. That's a good goal and a good path to follow. Yeah, just to keep. Just to keep doing it, because, like things happen to us every day, and there's always something There's always something to write about, I think.
There's always some funny.
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly. You can pull funny out of anything. Like about a month ago, I had at the time it was really upsetting and it was like kind of scary. Like I had like I had a bit of a stalker issue, and I had my phone number on my website. He got my phone number and he crank called me for a little while. I only know this because he told me later, like, yeah, I was calling you and hanging up and stuff like that. And he decided that, you know what, I want to talk to her. And I didn't answer the phone because I was like, if I don't recognize the number or if it comes up unknown, I don't answer it. So the person called like 2 or 3 times. I didn't answer, and it was late too. And then I got a text. Anyway, he spun this whole thing of like, we met on Tinder and this, that, the other. And I was like it didn't feel right. And I was like, I don't like Tinder, first of all. And like, I can't, like, if I give somebody my phone number on a dating site, it's not going to be like a year. I'm going to talk to them a year later. Yeah, exactly.
You'll remember who it is.
Exactly. So it didn't sit right with me, but I was just like, I don't know. It was a year ago. Like, the year we've had, who knows? And then he started getting like weird.
Yeah.
So I just ended, just stopped talking to him. And then like the next night, the same thing. He called me at like 3 a.m. and like it woke me up. I looked at the phone and I was like, I'm not answering a call, an unknown call at 3 a.m. sort of thing. And then he texted like racist shit at me.
Oh shit.
And it was really upsetting. I was super upset. I ended up filing a police report because it's a crime. It's a hate crime.
Definitely.
Sort of thing. And I remember I was just rattled and I was scared and I was shaken. And the only way I knew how to cope with it is I wrote a bit. I wrote a bit about it.
Yeah.
Therapeutic. And, yeah, it was therapeutic. Yeah. Because I was just like, how can I turn this around and, take my power back, or, not be afraid anymore, and like just say a big old fuck you to this guy.
Yeah.
And I wrote a bit. Exactly. And it was like, I think it was one of the fastest ones I've ever written. Because it was practically written for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was just
all the pieces were there.
Yeah, all the pieces were there. And it was just like, compared to like the very first time I performed it to how I perform it now, I've tweaked it and stuff like that. But like I wrote it very quickly.
Yeah.
And
I think
like a week later or something.
I think I remember you doing that bit at the Comedy Nest.
No, because this just happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At the Comedy Nest, I did like some dating stuff, like some weird dating stuff. And everything.
There was like, the robot dick pic or something. I remember that one.
Yes. And I still get texts from the Slutbot. It was Slutbot. Yeah. I got a text from it a few days ago. Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. How's it going?
Still not responding.
Still not responding. Not responding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one, this was recent, and that was just the way, and like in a weird way, I was like, I'm a comic. I took something like, painful, and
that was my natural reaction.
That was my natural reaction. Was to do this, and so I find, like you said, like you can get funny out of practically anything.
Yeah. Definitely.
Depending on what it is, maybe not right away. You might have to sit on it for like a while, maybe years before you can actually do it.
Yeah.
But
see it from the outside kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When it's not as fresh.
Personal. Yeah.
And personal. Yeah. So I think like funny can come from anywhere. You can make just about anything. About anything has some funny to it, But yeah. Well, this has been wonderful.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
This was a lot of good time. Yeah, thank you for signing up to be on the show. I was like pretty happy with that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So do you have Do you want to let people know how they can find you? Do you have any like shows or anything coming up that you want to let listeners and viewers know about?
You guys can follow me on Instagram at Joel Slavic. I do when shows start back up, I do the Kickback. It's a local show we do in Montreal every single month. I'm at the Sixth City Comedy Festival in August in Cleveland. So if you want to make the trip down there, I'll be there.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. And anytime you want to come on, just hit me up and we'll
Absolutely.
set something up. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.